Yo, what's going on, movie fans? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Total Running Time. My name is Matt Jarbo. I am your host, taking you through this journey of movie greatdom. Greatdom is not really a word, but however, you know what I'm trying to say. So, no, I mean, this week, if you guys are just tuning into the show, which I would really hope you've gone back and listened to other episodes, they're short, quick, sweet, to the point. This show basically goes through movie plot lines, and I read them back to you. I review them. I give you little insights and tidbits into what happens in these films and little things you may not know about to kind of keep you up to speed and ready to go if anyone's just like, like in the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's like a whole scene like where Indiana Jones falls into the well, and when he falls into the well, you can see that there's a C-3PO and R2-D2 in the background on one of the hieroglyphics. That's true, that's actually in the movie. Pardon that voice. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I may even cut that out. Maybe not. I don't know. But no, really, in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, there really is a little gag to Star Wars in there. And there's one, too, in Temple of Doom, which I will talk about when I'm done reviewing it, or when I'm done reading the plotline. So, okay. So imagine you're George Lucas, right? And Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark comes out, or well, at the time it was just Raiders of the Lost Ark comes out, and it's this huge, gigantic success, right? So you've got to come up with the sequel because that's what you're going to do. And so you get your friends Willard Gluck and Gloria Katz to crank out this movie called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where it's a prequel actually to Raiders of the Lost Ark. And if you look at the timeline, in the very first one, it's Peru 1936 and Raiders, and in Temple, it's Shanghai 1935. So it's a prequel. And here's a little tidbit you may not know about. The very beginning of the film is basically a Bond film. Look at how it plays out. Look at how Indy is dressed. Look at how it's done. It's a Bond film because that's what Spielberg wanted to do. He wanted to direct the Bond film. So he took the opening of the movie and they made it a Bond film. Of course, that's where you get the theme song, Everything Goes, and you meet Kate Capshaw's character and everything. So you've got Harrison Ford, Kate Capshaw, Jonathan Kekwan, Amrish Puri, Roshan Seth, and Philip Stone. Funny thing about Jonathan Kekwan, he plays Short Round, and he actually, there's, again, on the DVD set that you can see the behind the scenes on, he even says, like, he went to the audition with his older brother, who wanted to, audition for the role of Short Round, and he was just sitting in the lobby, right, and here comes someone, I forget who, and they just go like, hey, kid, say no time for love, Dr. Jones, and he's like, no time for love, Dr. Jones, and like, you fucking got the part. I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if that's true at all, but that's kind of how I figure it went down. But no, it's true. He was just sitting in the waiting room, and that's how he got the part. And of course, he's Data in Goonies, and that's another classic film. And so there we go. The movie was produced, of course, through George Lucas and directed by Spielberg. And, it takes place, it was done 3 years later because Lucas has this 3-year waiting period for some reason. I don't know, 2 years could be decent, but he likes 3 just to kind of make you wait and stick it to you. So yeah, it's a great film. I love it. People don't like this one as much as Raiders, and I can understand. This particular film is my favorite Indiana Jones film. Like I said, it's not my favorite movie of all time. That would be Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. But this one is my favorite Indiana Jones film because I just really, really like it. I think it's hysterical. I think it's a great time to watch. I like Short Round. I like Indiana's, I like Jones's, partnership. I like his relationship with Short Round, that they kind of look out for each other and that they're good friends and everything. So I like it. I think it's great. We're going to get into it. You guys can talk about it after the fact, but you know what? If you haven't seen this movie, then you need to come back when you have. And so right now, massive spoiler alert, turn it off, don't pay attention, come back when you have seen it. You know what? Fucking watch all 4 of them, then come back and listen to all 4 of these podcasts, for this week and next week and everything. You guys are going to love it. Okay, so here we go. This is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I promise I'll never do that ever again in this episode. All right, here we go. Here's the plot. In 1935, Indiana Jones narrowly escapes the clutches of Lao She, a crime boss in Shanghai, with a gold-digging nightclub singer Willie Scott and his 11-year-old Chinese sidekick Short Round in tow. Indiana flees Shanghai on a plane that, unknown to them, is owned by Lao. The pilots leave the plane to crash over the Himalayas, though the trio manage to escape on an inflatable boat and ride down the slopes into a raging river. They come to Mayapur, a desolate village in northern India, where the poor villagers believe them to have been sent by the Hindu god Shiva to enlist their help to retrieve the sacred Sivalinga stone stolen from their shrine, as well as the community's children from evil forces in the nearby Pankot Palace. During the journey to Pankot, Indiana hypothesizes that the stone may be one of the 5 fabled Shankara stones which promise fortune and glory. The trio receive a warm welcome from the residents of Pankot Palace, who rebuffs Indiana's questions about the villagers' claims and his theory that the ancient Thuggee cult is responsible for their troubles. Later that night, however, Indiana is attacked by an assassin, leading Indy, Willie, and Short Round to believe that something is amiss. They travel through an underground temple where the Thuggee worship the Hindu goddess Kali with human sacrifice. The trio discover the Thuggee, led by their evil high priest Mola Ram, in the possession of 3 of the 5 Shankara stones, and have enslaved the children to mine for the final 2, which they hope will allow them to rule the world. As Indiana tries to retrieve the stones, he, Willie, and Short Round are captured and separated. Indiana is forced to drink the potion called the Blood of Kali, which places him in a trance-like state called the Black Sleep of Kali Ma. As a result, he begins to mindlessly serve Mola Ram. Willie, meanwhile, is kept as a human sacrifice, while Short Round is put in the mines to labor alongside the enslaved children. Short Round breaks free and escapes back into the temple, where Willie is about to be lowered into a pit of lava. He burns Indy with a torch, shocking him out of the black sleep. While Mola Ram escapes, Indiana and Short Round save Willie and retrieve the 3 Shankara stones and free the village children. After a minecart chase to escape the temple, the trio emerge above ground, only to be cornered by Mola Ram and the Thuggee on a rope bridge over a crocodile-infested river. Using a sword stolen from one of the Thuggee warriors, Indiana cuts the rope bridge in half, leaving everyone to hang on for their lives. In one final struggle against Mola Ram for the Shankara stones, Indiana invokes an incantation, causing the stones to glow red hot. The 2 stones fall into the river, while the last falls and burns Mola Ram's hand. Indiana catches the now cool stone, while Mola Ram falls into the river below, where he is killed by crocodiles. A company of British Indian Army riflemen from the Pankot arrive to apprehend the remaining Thuggee. Indiana, Willie, and Short Round return victoriously to the village with the missing Shivalinga stone and the children. And the end, they go off into the sunset. Of course, Indiana comes back, a year later and fights the Nazis in World War II. So yeah, that's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I love this movie. It's so good. Oh my God. Yeah, it's not like the story is, it's not Nazis. It's different. You know what I mean? Like it's going more Eastern religion. Whereas if you look at Raiders deals with more Western based because we believe in the Christ, and even though Christ came from the East, so to speak, it made its way to the West, and that's where I think it really kind of like flourished, was there. At least in our understanding of it. And that's what I liked, is it dealt with more Eastern-based religion, these cults and these, like the whole thing is, like freaking Mola Ram pulls out the dude's heart and like, Kalima, Kalima, Kalima! The heart bursts into fucking flames and everyone's like, oh my God! Right? Funny story about that little scene right there. Did you know that Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is rated PG by the MPAA? However, when the movie came out, people felt that the scene with the heart being pulled out of the guy's chest, still beating and then burst into flames, is a little bit too violent for children. And so they complained quite a bit, and the MPAA was like, they went to Spielberg and they're like, well, what should we do about this? And Spielberg's like, well, we could change it. We could change the rating. You could get, put one in between PG and R, maybe like a PG-13 or a PG-14, and give people an idea that it's a little bit more, vulgar and violent and stuff. And the guy's like, brilliant, sign it, do it. And that's where we get PG-13 from. Thank you, Spielberg. You fucked us on that one. I'm not a big PG-13 fan personally. But anyway, so that's the funny thing with that one. And then also, I said earlier that there was a Star Wars reference in this film. The Star Wars reference is actually in the chase scene on the way out in the beginning when they're in the little tut-tut or the little pole cart, whatever you want to call it. They pass by Club Obi-Wan. You can see it very briefly. It's in neon lights. It says Club Obi-Wan. And then a little funny thing, another little cameo appearance, is when they get to the airstrip, the guy, you never really get a clear shot of his face, but you get to see him, is Dan Aykroyd, is the British guy who gets them on the plane. So Dan Aykroyd has an appearance in the movie too. And if you don't know who Dan Aykroyd is, go look him up, watch Ghostbusters, goddammit. Anyway, so there's that. And then there was something else I was going to mention. Oh, okay. So one of the things that I didn't mention in last week's episode, the last episode of the Raiders, is the great famous scene of Indiana Jones fighting the dude with like the big ass like sword, and then he just pulls out the gun and shoots him. Backstory on that one real quick was that actually that Harrison Ford was sick. So Harrison was sick and he was just tired, and they'd done a whole bunch of takes of this fight scene, and finally he said fuck it, and he pulls out his gun and he shoots him. And so when he does that and the guy falls over, Spielberg's like, no, do that. That's great. Let's just go with that. So that's awesome. So they had fun with that. That scene is actually all improvised. And then if you look, there's after the minecart sequence in this movie, they get separated. So, Willie and Short Round are climbing up the other side of the thing, and Indiana Jones is running, and he comes across two thuggy guys, right? Two thuggy cult guys, and right, and they pull up both their swords, and they're just like, ah! Right, and then he looks at him and he gets that smirk, and he reaches for his gun because he's just going to shoot them both, but his gun's not there, and he's like, shit. So then he has to, like, fight them, and he beats the crap out of them, and he gets the swords and stuff. So that's where that comes from. And there's that little gag that flows back to Raiders at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think people give this movie enough credit, like, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, people think Short Round, whatever, but, this one is, yeah, not as good as Raiders, but it's still fun to watch. It's still Jones. It's still him. And you just gotta love him for who he is, and you gotta love the adventures he goes on. So that's the thing. That's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. If you guys like it, talk about it. If you don't like it, talk about it. Let's get a discussion going on. You can find out more from us at facebook.com/2buck theater. That is number 2 BUCK theater, and you guys can get more information about movies and reviews and news, and no celebrity gossip because I don't deal with that crap. But of course, daily questions and daily updates, and always good times to be had by all on the site. So I know a lot of you listening are on Facebook, so definitely add us on Facebook. My name is Matt Jarbo. I'll see you guys on Monday for the next episode, which is going to be Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So I will see you guys later. Goodbye. Have a great weekend. Bye. Have a great weekend. Bye. Have a great